well, unlocked from the inside. And it's propped open because only one here until band practice comes. Oh, I need to tell you that the worship team is showing up tonight, so it might get a little disruptive. This is actually the quietest room in the church. We're in the conference room right next to the stage, which you would think would be louder, but because Glenn made all the music go that way, it's actually the least noisy of the rooms. So that's why we're in here. I think I'm gonna wait just a few more minutes because I think that Jennifer said she was coming for sure. And my babysitters are also on their way. And I think I told everybody 7 o'clock, but like last night, I'm all hanging out at the front table, checking kids in for CLC, and I thought it was at 6:30, it was at 7. Someone's at the door. Hey, there you are. Is it just me? Well, because I know it comes back where I normally come back. Oh, usually we don't have. Oh, really? Oh, yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. You said Emily wasn't here. Yeah. She said she was. I recently texted her. Okay. Yeah. Not feeling good. I don't know, but we've got it live. So say hello. Hi. Hi, Kara. Yep. So that's a cool feature, by the way. How do I get out of the camera? You don't get out of the camera. I brought cookies. I may have had to have one to those make it. Cookies, chocolate, caramel. It's like a s'more with marshmallow. Yeah, right. That's like caramel instead of marshmallow. I might have one of those. Yeah. So we're in here. There's going to be worship rehearsal at the same time, but this is actually quieter. This is the quietest room. Okay, we've tried all of them. So yeah, I know that Lacey couldn't make it, and Tammy was also home. So there are some people online now watching. Nobody else is. So it'll have people online watching. And the cool thing about this is I think it videotapes glare. I know, see what happens when you turn it off though? I've tried every station, and we have these big glaring lights. Refuse that. It's not my headset one. That makes a halo. That's awesome. Or things sticking on my head. You can see the But anyway, so this is recording for posterity. And like a little video on YouTube, so you can go back and watch it again. So you can watch yourself come in. We're going to look back in time and say, how little did we know how brilliant we were at homeschooling. So, because it's just you can kind of guess where you want me to go with this. What questions do you have? What do you want to know? What do you already know about me, about homeschooling, about? So I went to the Czech conference, and that's where I got what I mostly know, because I didn't know anything before going to that. So that was really helpful. And I learned about the different methods of homeschooling. Before that, I was just like, I don't know. So that was helpful too. And I took a test to find out what my style was. And I had a question too on, well, I'm assuming that styles change and needs for styles change. Or like, what if I have a certain style, but in this case, one child has a different learning style. Mm-hmm. So, like, if she's going to learn better in traditional, and I'm doing something else, or classical, and I'm doing something else, then unit studies or whatever. Mm-hmm. Does that matter? Do I need to modify for her or? Hello. We'll back up. Hello. Hi. I think your babysitters are right here. How cool is that? Oh, thank you. Hi. So just send your mama this way, okay? We'll be in here, okay? You girls can go play in the baby room. So, like, initially I thought, when I conceived moving homeschool, oh, I'm going to be, what turned out to be unit studies. That's going to be simple. That's going to be me because that's the way I would like to learn, is like very experiential and doing crafts and stuff like that. Well, it turns out that that's not me. As a mom, that's not me, because I'm a woman who goes on Pinterest and gets stressed out that I'm like not putting up. It's just Pinterest bad material. And then I'll find something I'm going, oh, that one's easy. We'll do that one. By the time I collect everything or buy stuff or put my center up, and I'm all excited, and 3 minutes later she's like, I'm done. And I'm just like, you know, and or she enjoys it and it's everywhere, and then I deal with it, and then I'm not the fun pleasant mom that I want to be. And so that's not actually me. And to test that, it really surprised me. After now I know, I mean, at first I was like, unschooling is, but that's what I came out as. But that makes sense because she's 3. So that's of course how you're naturally teaching. It'll probably evolve as she evolves, I would think.
Well, that's really, I know that there's a lot of different teaching styles based on there's a lot of things that go into your teaching style. Your educational background, your personality, and your time. There's a lot of writing by that when I just looked at Joe, I was like, somebody else show her how to tie her shoe, I gotta go. And so there's that difference. Hi, everyone.
I got a pack.
It's okay. We're live streaming. We got some people that made it. So
I'm not the only one asking questions. Yeah.
if anybody else comes up on the phone.
Oh,
I was going to say, you see them right here. This is the best one in this one.
hopefully not like this.
No, this kind of easy to do it long.
That's right.
So, we were talking about learning styles and
Versus teaching styles.
yeah, versus teaching styles. And I think that comes, like I said, with your personality, your schooling background, and your time. The main reason I didn't start homeschooling before I did is because every time I got somebody to preschool, I had another baby. And there was no way I was going to start teaching 1, 2, 3 kids with me. And I had a great experience in homeschool back in the 70s, and so I gave it a shot. And all the warning signals that came at me didn't process fast enough.
So why don't you give us your, I mean, I don't know, do you know Linette's background and why she moved into homeschooling and when? I don't know any of that. Okay.
So we started homeschooling when Annie was in 3rd grade. She's in 8th grade now, so I think we're going into our 6th year. Levi was going into 8th grade. Sam was going into 6th grade. Joe was just starting preschool, and Annie was going into 3rd grade. And I told you the reason why I didn't do it. The reason I did do it is because I have 3 of my children that tested for St. Brain that were gifted and talented. And most of the time when a kid is gifted and talented, it's usually in one area. They just pull them out for science or reading or whatever it is, and just put them in with their graders. Well, mine went all the way across. And they said, we're not going to skip kids because that's not for them socially. So their approach was, we'll use Levi, for example, because he's successfully finished. He learned stuff the first time, and then while the teachers are busy trying to get the 30 other kids up to where he was fiddling or drawing or tech decks, or his down here. And he was
they were just
always in
okay
trouble.
with it. Their approach was, oh no.
No, he was a troublemaker. And I actually told the teacher once, could you give him more homework? And at the time he was still young enough that he still wanted to learn. He was still excited. And for a while I would come up with homework for him, and he didn't know any better. You're not watching this, are you? And the teacher said, I said, give him more homework. And she said, not my job. And I was like, kind of is. And the school's approach was like, no, we're given what we can, this is what we have. So they finally put him in a gifted and talented program. And in 5th grade, he said, can I not be gifted and talented anymore? Because what they were doing was taking those kids out and having them clear trash on the side of the road. And
Why?
because they were so smart.
They just didn't have anything for them?
This was their program. It was teaching them philanthropy, basically. And he just hated it. He was like, so I'm smart, so I have to pick up trash. That's how his little red ball bounced. And I said, yeah, you know what? He goes, I just want to be in class with my friends. I just want to know what they're learning. So by the time we got to the middle school, they wouldn't let me into the classrooms anymore. So I didn't know what they were learning, what their language was. It was totally, they were creating a separation between my child and I at a very crucial developmental age.
Because they just don't allow classroom volunteers at a certain age?
I don't know what it was. But it was a school I grew up in, and it was totally like weird. And I just thought, this is odd. And then I had another one that has an IEP. So all 4 of my kids are not middle of the road. And the solution for the IEP was special ed. And I said, no, that's not the situation here. Every year I had to explain what learning disorder was. And it was just something so new that they didn't, if it wasn't HDB or HDHD or what, or high def or, dyslexia, they didn't know what to do. And so special ed was the answer. In, middle school, it's like, no, that's not the tools that are needed here. And so I realized this is not going well. This is not going well for my kid. And so Glenn and I have been talking about it. And I had, I didn't know it was called homeschooling. We called it kitchen school. So I had taught all 4 of them to read before they went to preschool because they don't wanted to. And so I bought curriculum and stuff, and I just taught them at home. And then every summer we had kitchen school until Levi, again, not watching, Levi came home and said, I've been asking very much. Nobody else does this. None of my other friends are doing this. I'm out. And as soon as he was out, then Sam and Annie were like, wait, what? We don't have to do this. I was like, no, we have to. So when we started having all these troubles, I talked to Glenn about it. We spent a year going to meetings, checking out curriculum. I went to tons of lunches with my friends and saying, listen, if we start homeschooling next year, I won't be available anymore like I am now. I sat the board down and I said, look, I'm not going to be available as I was before. I'm not going to be like, when you come jump. And so we told the kids at the beginning of the summer, right before we pulled them. And by his birthday, by October, Levi was asking, can you just pull us out now? And we're like, no, time to work on this. So we pulled him out, and we kept him out for a year. We called it the year of deprogramming.
And I've heard that you actually need that with the older kids. So sometimes they have.
It was horrible. Everything was my fault. I was like, no. Everything was my job to do. Well, he wanted me to do his work. He was very, I was like, whoa, who are you? So for that year, it was a lot of reminding that child. I don't know if he learned anything out of the book. But by the time we got done with that year, we had a choice to make because we already were in high school. Erie High School's right around the corner from us. But one of the other reasons we pulled him out was he was part of a group of kids that had, were having big drug issues. A couple of them went to rehab, two of them got shipped out of the country to go be with family to get cleaned up and so forth. And we pulled him out of that. And so we had decided, should we put him right back? Because those kids are going to be going there. Should we put him right back? That would be easy. Kick him out the front door, bus picks him up, bus takes him, bus brings him home. That was the easy answer. Or homeschooling. And Brad said, if we homeschool 1 more year and come home, one of you will be dead. I'm not really sure which one at this point. So our third option was Lee High School, which was 16 minutes away, highway driving, both directions, longer in the snow, but it was out in the middle of literally cornfields and cows, nothing out there. There's no gas station, there's no Taco Bell, there's like nowhere to go unless you got wheels. And we went out there, and he had done orchestra within his 5th grade year, and so he learned a few times. And so we gave him the choice of either homeschooling, homeschooling or leave high school. And of course, he wanted to get back out into public. And so we had put in place a couple of spies there at the school to kind of keep track of him, and prayed really hard for him to have good friends. And he made some amazing friends, and our home became a place where everybody came. So then Levi graduated, a third of the senior class graduated out of our home because we just weren't there anymore. So I guess I've kind of been teaching all along, here and there, been very involved with homework. I was in the classroom with the kids until I couldn't be anymore. And then that was like, that and the IEP just was like the last straw for me. And looking back, I really wish I would have done it sooner, because like I told you, I got called into preschool because Levi was writing his name backwards in cursive so that he could hold it up in front of the mirror and read it. He thought that was really cool. And he called me in and had a meeting with me and asked me to have him print his name. You can write cursive now, so that's what he wants to do. They said, well, everybody else is printing. And that should have been my thing, that, well, my kid isn't like everybody else. I know everybody thinks, every parent thinks, well, my kid's special. And if your kid is that special, then you can't trust the system to do what it needs to do. They're understaffed, and it's just not like it was when we were in school. It's just not like it was. So we had a good experience with the last 4 years. Last year, but that was the school system. And I'll tell you what, when we graduated from Meade High School, because I said, just like you guys did, because.
What about Sam? He doesn't want to go to high school?
Even if he does, he's gonna be lost in the mess, because they have quotas and they only have a certain amount of time, and it's just not worth it. And for the girls, I already see a difference between 13-year-old homeschool girls and 13-year-old public school girls. And she does too. She sees the difference too.
What do you see?
I see a lot of trying to be older than they really are, knowing a lot more about the world than they should know at that age. I see a lot of one-upmanship and talking about things that are desperate to be 16 or 20 even. And I see a lot more. It's like that scene from Grease when Sandra Dee goes to the sleepover.
Yeah.
That's what it looks like. And I can get them everything they need without having all of that. And the big question everybody says is, well, what about socializing them? The best part about homeschooling is I get to pick who they socialize with. When you send them on a bus, you get what you get. You get nose picker, you get glue eater, you get the kid that cusses all the time, you know?
Yeah,
and you have to deprogram your kid
You
every
get the
day.
bus driver, like, whatever they're playing, and I just saw an article about telling them they banned rap from the buses, and I'm like, well, that's probably a good thing. Well, they also banned religious music, and because they're trying, so they gave them a list of you can play country music or this or this. But I mean, even Like, look at what influences they're getting without anything, just because it's in the environment every day and they have no control over that.
Awesome. There are awesome teachers in the public school system, a lot of Christian teachers that are out there trying to make a difference. And the cool thing that I got to do as a parent coming into a classroom is I co-opted with a teacher that was a Christian teacher. She did both my boys. And she would say, that kid over there needs prayer for us and such. And so I, as a mom, could go over and I could put my hand on this kid's shoulder and say, so what are you working on? While he's telling me I'm totally not listening and praying. You know, and I could do that, but the teachers can't do that. I had a kid who has love language as physical touch, cannot hear a thing you say unless you're physically touching. And I said, could you just put your hand on this shoulder here, and then you have, oh, hi, it's like this magic button. There we are now. There we are now. And they won't do it. And I said, I'll sign papers. Like, they said, we can't touch. I'm like, oh my gosh. And I know that there are other people that have the same situation with their kids. Their love language is touching. If you just touch them innocently, you all of a sudden are like, hi, I was gone for a while.
And then, so what happens when they go to college and they're not in that controlled environment and they haven't had a testing environment or the pressure of whatever?
Well, don't be sure, they still have to test.
They can.
They still have to test. You still have to test them in 3rd, 5th, 7th, 9th, and 11th
Or you
grade.
can get a teacher or a psychologist to interview them and sign off that they're progressing in learning.
You can, but I think it's valuable to do the testing, like you said, to show them, because they're going to have to do, there's some real world things that they need to learn. I don't even know if they learn in public school, like how to fill an application. What is your medical history? Can you write down the stuff you have? Do you know the names of your meds? Things like that. And testing. If they want to get promoted in a job, they might have to learn how to take a test. So that goes also back to teaching style. There are some parents that test, and there's other I don't like to grade all that much. They don't like grading. We do it because I have to know that I'm a high schooler. But it's good for them to do tests every once in a while. And so the other thing that I supplement what I do is with the co-ops. And that's where you send a kid off once a day or once a week to a brick and mortar building. It's usually a church. You're sending them to accredited teachers, the ones that are in the public school. And the beautiful thing about co-ops is, like with Levi, I couldn't do orchestra with him in 8th grade either. What am I going to do? You know, play a song and play your cello along. I mean, I was already lame enough. So by sending him, he was going to meet in his private orchestra, but he was also part of the options orchestra and the music class too. I would do art. I had 3 artists. We'd go to options, take art class. PE, I went to PE. High school, they have to have it. Even the graduate. I also don't want to teach algebra, geometry, algebra 2, biology. I like it, but I don't want to do all that. So when you go to a co-op, you sign your kids up for stuff you're not comfortable doing, or it's an enrichment, like crochet, things maybe they don't really need to know, but they really want to know that year. Foreign languages. Options does Spanish, Lighthouse does Latin, and I think they're going to do French.
They're teaching Common Core, is that how they're teaching it now? And through that, because it is the public school system, so.
No, this is the math that all of my kids are doing, and you can order this off eBay. They're doing it through, well, Samuel is doing it at Options because he loves his math teacher and he loves the environmental math class. The girls just do it at home. And it's teaching textbooks. Again, there's a bunch of different kinds out here. But you have the old-fashioned paper. If your kid is this kind of kid that needs the paper, you can make copies of that. But mine all of this. You pop a CD or you pop a CD in the computer. There's a lecture, and then there's answers online. If you miss the answer, you can go back and say, "Show me how to do it." And I can get into the grade book, they can't. Unless they hack my password. Which is never teaching textbooks 1, 2, 3, 4, by the way, good try. So this, it's just regular old math. And so that would be something that if you are going to do math, that you ask them, is this Common Core? Is this new math? Like, new math is weird. It's cool, like, I think it's kind of neat after you have the, okay, it's like a game, it's like a puzzle, if you like numbers. I love numbers. If I was a third grader and you were supposed to be down with that number, and I had a parent who didn't like video games, I just can't imagine. I had a friend who's got a younger one who sent me some text pictures of his homework. It was when he was in preschool. And she said, what does this mean? And it was three-letter words for him to practice. They were nonsense words. They weren't even real words. And she's like, what are you supposed to do with this? And I'm like, I have no idea. I've never seen that before. When my kids were learning how to read, it was the, cat, and you could make actual sentences. Now it's, it was weird. It was like, Ingle, Dobe, blah. It was just weird. It was down, it wasn't a real word, so I don't even know what the reason behind it was because I'm not in there. But there is a lot of out there. So the co-ops, you can go either way. You can go through. Most of the public school systems have a co-op that you're under a public school system, but you are a homeschooler. And so that's what the options program is, right? So it's through Aurora Public Schools, but it's only homeschoolers.
And so you can fill out your opt-out vaccination and stuff, just like you were submitting them to a full-time school.
No, I don't know, because I've never had to do that. And I was actually talking to somebody about that recently, that there are some kids here in our church that are having schools giving them food because their immunizations aren't up to speed. And in California, you can't opt out anymore.
Right, but you can in Colorado.
You can in Colorado. So I would assume, like I said, that would be a specific question for whichever co-op you go with. If you go with St. Vrain, there's called Apex. Aurora's is Brighton, those are the ones that are closest to where you are. But I would call the directors of those campuses and ask them that specifically, because I don't know anybody that's done that. My kids are also older than me. I mean, I just got like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
I think
All sorts of stuff they're pumping into me.
They call us a peanut because it's
One
so
of the
big.
military owns you.
You're a Manchurian candidate. Yeah, I didn't even ask. I just said, did you get sick? He was like, not really. Everybody else around here was growing. Like malaria, they probably gave him Zika. Stuff we've never even heard of. But he's all right. So those schools that are through the public school system, those are going to be accredited teachers with teaching certificates. You go through a Christian co-op or a private, the teachers are like myself. A lot of experience, never got around to teaching certificates that have babies. And I don't have time to read my own stuff. Somebody's reading their stuff. So, but you also have accredited teachers too. Your third option is, and I've never done this, but I understand that it is live and well, is other homeschool moms, we pick a building like the church here, and you would take art for the kids that like art, and if Samara doesn't like it,
I think
you put her with the ballet teacher.
that's what interests me. I mean, that concept interests me. I haven't run into who's really doing it, but I like that concept.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna burn out, and she's gonna burn out on me. I'm gonna burn out on trying to teach everything, and she's gonna just be done with me. And I think it's good to learn from different styles, and it's good just to have other people responsible for something.
Yeah. Well, and that was when I found out about the options program from another mom that I was friends with. She said, "You will love your Tuesdays." And my Tuesdays are like sacred. They're more sacred than Sunday to me because Sunday I'm still working. You know, so Tuesday, that is my sacred day. My kids are gone from 8:30 to 3 o'clock. And I can go to meetings and go to doctor's appointments and get tags on the car. I can go through their rooms and organize them. I can, you know, I can get something done. And like you said, it gives them 5 other teachers. Well, Sam only has 2, 3. But, and friends. And over there, it's not just there. You can, like drama. Yeah, it was the 7th grader doing a little group with seniors.
How are you tracking your hours? Are you tracking them, and are you keeping files on each kid?
So yeah, so we use there. So that's the other thing is an umbrella school. If you homeschool, you have to one. My glasses on. You send a letter in to usually probably be Fort Lupton homeschool.
So whatever your district is.
Just saying, I'm going to use it.
They have a standard letter now.
Yeah,
They make you do.
Yeah, this is a pretty
Okay,
standard. This is a pretty standard. This is the one without action. This is the standard. Just fill in place. And then I emailed the gal to make sure that she got it. She said, yep, and there was no problem. No problem at all. They're getting a lot of them. It's not like they're going to go, what's that happened to me?
The thing is that we have to do it before the date when school starts.
Well, that's the same thing, but last year it reminded me always. September, October. So like, oh, there it is. It's
Jonesy. If they were following it.
so you can put time the more folders, November, I think, for Thanksgiving.
And just got the letter and said, we're out
Well,
here.
that actually pulled away, it was just optional. The year I told my kids, I wrote it down and I walked it to the office, and they went from this to the shape is better than me. I was like, well, yeah. And they're like, that was your outside voice. This is like, I get louder and you repeat it. I mean, they turned on me. Okay, then we just took it into school. But now it's, that was 5 years ago, now it's on the rise. Now St. Brain has a homeschool co-op, so it's not like I'm the only person in theory doing this. So the letter. So once you turn in the letter and you find an umbrella, there are 3 that I am familiar with. There's CHECK, the Colorado Home Educators, the Christian Home Educators of Colorado. There's Shema Christian Academy, which is just a name and address. There's no building. They just keep records for homeschool kids. And then there's Lighthouse Christian Academy, which is the school that I teach at. And they're in middle school, they keep records. Where's that? Thornton. It's 125th in Colorado, I think. And so I want to make sure some people ask me questions. I'm totally doing that. No. Okay. So that is a really easy thing. Okay, so here is my total confession time. It's September, and I call my umbrella school when I talk to Carol. And I said, so Carol, I'm on the website, and the form says 2005, 2006, so I just changed it to this year. She goes, yeah, I just haven't changed the website. She crossed it out. And you know what? I said, I can't find my enrollment from last year. Did I turn in paperwork? Can I just turn in last year's also? She's like, that's fine. She goes, don't worry. She goes, you're actually ahead of me for this year. It's only September. I'm thinking. So I'm turning in last year's and this year's, paying fee for last year and this year. No, and I really have to be on it because of Sam, because he's a sophomore now. So last year, so what I'll do is I'll turn in all of his grades from options for myself to my umbrella school, and they will keep those officials so that when he does go to trade school or college or the military, we have that stuff. So what it looks, so I've got a couple different ones about what the registration process looks like for that. This is like, theirs is really simple. They just want to know for each kid what subject and what curriculum you're using for that. So that one is really simple. This one is the same thing, but they also give you, this is really cool, projected attendance sheet so that you can keep track. So to answer your question, the easiest way that I kept track of when we did school and we didn't is I printed up the St. Brain school calendar and I would mark it off every day that we were in school. And then every month I would tally up how many days we did at our school. And the day is 4 hours. It's technically 4 hours, but today my kids got done in 2.5. I didn't have anything else for them. They did their daily work. So
you're not really worried about totaling, this one was 4 hours, this one was 2, this one was 6.
And I was crazy about it. Because other days, Miss Jo could take 10 hours to finish her work. It all works out. It all works out, and they're not going to spend any day over.
And all you need to do is even take a calendar and put a dot on the day.
Yeah.
And like we went to the zoo today, that qualifies.
Right.
So.
Right. Well, and that's what I tell people. I will tell you straight up, I'm a terrible home schooler. Because we are museum schoolers, we are Lincoln Navigator schoolers, we are church schoolers, we are park schoolers, we are.
Yeah, like the Second Amendment thing the other night, that was part of school.
Yeah, my kids had to write a report on that. They were, well, they had to do a current event. I was like, how much more current is tonight? You know, and this isn't just some guy that mommy found in the back alley. You know, this guy is national. So that's the cool thing. So I do turn that in. This is projected. So you project how many days are you gonna do school in August? Well, we did like school for 4 days and then we went to Georgia. You know, and I didn't have them do school while we were coming and going. So Labor Day, my kids were in school. They're like, it's Labor Day. I was like, you were in Georgia and we didn't do school. So happy Labor Day. Besides, seriously, what do you need a break from? How is your life? You just have summer. Right. So
do you take off summer?
I do. I do something terrible. I pay my kids to read. I've done that for a long time. They get, so first graders get $1, second graders get $2, and then fifth grade on they get $5. Unless it's like ginormous, like some of Levi's Army books that he would read, I was like, dude, I'll give you $10 for that. It's not a lot, but it's motivation, and I have, oh, well, I will show you. Because school is their job, so they have to get paid something. And the littles don't get grades. But in the front of my notebook, I have a sheet. Oh, here's one from last year, where I write down the date that they completed the book, what the book was. I write paid when I give them their cash. To get their cash, they have to sign their name. We have payday. Friday is payday, and boy, do they like Friday. When they're done with the book. When they're not, they sit there and watch everybody else get paid. And so it's accountability. That way they can't come back and go, you never paid me. I'm like, well, it's your signature right there. Plus, it's kind of like, you know, when you have a job, you have to
kind of like a contract.
It's kind of like a contract. The other thing is I save these sheets. everything. And I know other people don't do this, but I've heard horror stories of moms that try to get their kids in the military or something. And someone will say, well, what curriculum did you use? And this mom said she coded in 12 tubs of curriculum and said, call me when you're done looking through it all. So my kids keep notebooks with a year on it. I keep this so that if they say, did they really read that? I'm like, well, yeah, here's the dates. Let me go back and look
How do you know they read them?
Okay, so that goes into a curriculum question. And I like Sunlight, right here in Littleton. We know the guy who, hi.
They wanted to know if they could go outside. Okay. So that I just want to know.
Yeah, make sure Joe goes with you too.
I know.
And prop the door open. Oh, invest in stickies. Let Sunlight maps out everything for you, like what you're going to do that day. So on this day, just follow this column. I don't have to learn anything. So this is.
So what is Sunlight?
So Sunlight is a Christian company that does historically accurate curriculum without total Bible thumping. So it's not like every book is trying to get your kids saved. They do a lot of their readers are very award-winning books, non-politically correct.
So would you say it's like a Charlotte Mason approach, that it's all book oriented?
It is a lot. It's a lot of reading, but this is good because it combines their English and their history together. So you don't have to read English books and read history books. You're reading English books about the history you're learning about. And so their work is, okay, so let me answer the question, how do I get on what they're reading? I sign with something, and then we have questions to ask. How does Pop discover one of the conspirators?
Are you reading all books too, so you know?
I did at the beginning. Now Joe's repeating, so I'm not reading in yours because I remember that. I'm not now. I used to read out loud because I was interested, because where I am in life, and because I want Sam and Annie to learn how to teach themselves, and be responsible for their own. We're working on some things this year, like having a planner. I would tell you on that sheet the things that you need to do today, do it in your order. I don't care. Just get it done. Mark it off your planner. It's teaching them to use their time wisely, and I'll tell you what, I have a lot less fights now because I just give them what they need and they watch them. And I go, okay, or I go to a meeting. I ran a care yesterday, I ran a home lobby with some teachers. And they all knew it needs to be done. I'll be doing it during Ages of Shield or something. So, but what I'm doing differently with Sam this year, instead of doing it orally because he was in high school, I'm having him write the question down and write the answer down. And then when we come together, I read the question, he reads what he wrote. And then he read that as people goes in his language arts. Instead of me going, yeah, he knew it. It's more proof at the high school level that he did. I can also, the cool thing about this is it tells me that answer was in chapter 4, so she's just like, I'm teaching you to go back to chapter 4 and let you know the question. Go see and find that information because I think it's very helpful to teach kids how to use the book to find the answer. You don't have to have it all up there, but you need to know where to find the answer. Because even as adults, we don't have it all up here. Go to books or computers or other people. So that's, I like that. I can pick and choose. Like my first year, I was like, how are we gonna do it all? And now I'm like, oh, that's really like poetry. Oh, I tried that for a half a year. It just doesn't, none of us like it, or just, so we don't really do poetry. The Bible is on there. We can do the Bible or not. My kids get wanting a Bible throughout the week. I don't need it organized. Or if it's in this one, yeah. So it's all mapped out for me. I have the science is the same way. They have little, they have packets to do. They get the same packet, they can work together, they can work alone, they go to recipes. And then they grade it together. They swap papers and they actually do grading. And you can go through it together. So I'm learning while they're learning, but I'm not learning all. And same things, I have Josie here. So this is my group batteries. Oh, yeah. But as I go along, I learn how to supplement with the spelling words. I heard about this book or an interview on the radio a couple weeks ago. I was like, oh, that'll be our spelling words, and we'll learn the difference between affect and effect, right? And we will be educated by the time he's graduated. So this is not on my book. This spelling word is, because I modified it because it was just a little too book over some reason. But and I keep all the curriculum and I just reuse it. So Joe is now using what's in it and computers.
So their learning styles don't matter, but they have different learning styles.
Well, the cool thing about that is when you watch them do their work, that's when you get to see their style. Joe still, she's fourth grade, she still fiddles around, so she still needs me going, hey, how are you doing on that? Hey, so I see you're drawing ponies instead of, but she's slowly understanding that the longer I sit here and procrastinate, the longer I sit here. You know, the other night she was eating, she's poking her beverages, she's poking at her eating and doing the math while she's eating. You know, because we were getting something and she's the other cool thing about the reading based is I have an auditory learner, and so I find as much as I can on CD. And that's cool because I can play the card and the whole family the story. And the auditory person hears it and sees it. And I don't think that's cheating at all. It's still, you get the book information in there, and that's what it's all about. Just get it in there and I'll be able to tell what happened. I also, there's a movie of it with Olga, for example. Just going to read the picture. There's a book with the audio and there's the movie. And so after we're done, we watch the movie and compare. And kids say, oh, and that's why we need books. So the cool thing about having a boxed curriculum, whether it's Becca or classical conversations or sunlight, is they literally give you everything you need, including the book weight to keep the book open while you're reading. I've gotten smarter. Now I go to the library, and then I have I have 3 libraries, and I go in order. They don't have it, go to eBay. eBay doesn't have it, go to Amazon. Hoopla is another one, auto.com, and then my toys check out because they're my own company. So, and so far, I've only had to buy one book because I was too late in getting into the library. We're going to do 3 weeks together. So I paid $7 or something. So I like the box curriculum for the older kids. For the younger kids, I didn't do box curriculum. I went to Office Snacks or Office Depot and got these. And just still using this. This year I'm not having her pull the pages out, but when they were little, I pull out a couple from reading section, one from science, and then staple it and 3-hole punch it, and set her down. Yeah, because once they can read, they can follow directions. And while they were little, this was enough. This is a 4th grade one. But that's what I did, and I bought manipulatives. We did Play-Doh, we did flashcards, I did hot dots. which is really cool. It's flashcards that are with an electric pen, tells you if the answer is right or not. Again, that's independent learning. You don't have to be there going, try press D and see what happens. So I have discovery toys. We did Levi and Joe did dinosaur math. Samuel learned with Hot Wheels and Lego bricks. And he was just, I'm not even really sure how she learned math. She just somehow learned it. I think she was just kind of around everybody else and just picked it up. But when they're little, like what you guys have, you can write easy, you do a couple of worksheets.
Yes. I got a curriculum for phonics because I wanted to read, I saw this video and they were reading at 3 and, whatever. And I'm like, oh, I want that for her. And she wants nothing to do with a flashcard. Oh my gosh, to sit her down and try to look at a flashcard is the end of the world. But games and to draw on the Etch-a-Sketch and whatnot, she's learning all her letters and she's picking them out of books and she's learning that they go together and make sound. So it's all happening anyway, but that structured style did not go well for her.
Well, and she is little. And you have to remember, you only get a little bit with 3-year-olds. But this is what I did with all 4 of mine. Teacher showed me the 100 easy lessons. I never made it all the way through the book. Halfway, they were like, they got it. Because the concepts were so, and there's enough drawing in there that my 3 little artists were like, oh, reading is like art. And I was like, sure it is. Yeah, so you like that. I still have, I have like 2 copies of it. I tell all moms with 3-year-olds this. And I have 4 totally different kids, and this for all of them.
First graders who
Yeah, it would be great. Now, where you're going to start hitting walls is when you start getting into the sight words, because there are no rules. You can't memorize. You can't write a book on sight words. And Levi, Mr. would get so angry with me. I mean, he was chalking stuff out again. You said that you always said. I was like, except for that this is French and this one's German. And I said, honey, I didn't create this language. I'm just telling you that it's a weird word. It's just weird. You're just gonna have to remember it. You have to learn it. So with the littles, you do a lot of sorting and a lot of coloring and working on following directions. Because following directions is what you do the whole rest of your life. What I taught my kids is if it says underline, you underline the word underline. If it says circle, you circle the word circle. If it says 2, I want 2 examples, you write 2 above it in the directions before you even go through. So Joey's still doing that. I don't know if she has that in here, but she's like, look, Mommy,